What's up, everyone? Welcome back to 30 to Life. It's your boy Uso Ron, and today we got a special one right now, man. Long time coming. I got my boy here, and he's got a good story to tell y'all. He's gonna tell you about himself. We're just gonna chop it up with you guys so you can get to know my homie and sit back and relax and listen, man. So, what's up, homie, man?
What's going on?
This is my boy Snoop right here, man. It's been a long time. Been trying to get you on here, and I know a lot of people been waiting to talk with you. So we're going to start it off by introducing you. I know you as Snoop, you know what I'm saying? You're my homie. We did a little bit of time together in the past. I know where you're from, but the people that don't know where you're from, go ahead and tell us where you're from and a little bit about, you know, your upbringing, where you're from.
Well, out here in the States, I'm originally from Modesto, California. Khmer, born in Thailand.
Yeah.
Refugee camp. And there's a lot of guys in my situation that have, you know, it's similar. You know, we all been through similar situations from Thailand to here.
To America.
You know? Yeah, we first landed in the East Coast and found out we had family out here in California, and we made the transition here to Modesto. You know?
Nice. How old were you in the East Coast?
Shoot. When I first got to the United States, I was two years old. Yeah.
Damn.
So this is all I know. You know, I don't know Cambodia. You know,
Yeah,
but that's you know who I am. You know?
Right.
But
So you landed in Modesto.
yeah, Modesto, West Side Modesto. That's where my family, I guess, originated from. You know, out here. I guess you know that's where we say we're from. You know.
Nice. So as a youngster, when you hit Modesto, did you have a normal childhood? Were you growing up in a normal neighborhood, or was there a lot of Cambodian refugees?
You know, in the beginning, coming over here, like I can't, knowing what I know now, I can't really judge the kids for being racist. You know, they just don't know no better. You know, I grew up getting called all kind of names and stuff because, you know, people don't understand us. You know, they just think we're Vietnamese and all that stuff. You know, from the Vietnam War, and we get labeled as, you know, that
Different.
get called names and stuff like that. So, you know.
Yeah. What are some of the names they were calling you?
Oh man, I heard it all, man. You know, I've been called gook.
Yeah.
You know, go back to your country, and
Right.
you know, all this crazy stuff. And you know, I always felt like I'm from here. You know, I don't know nothing about Cambodia. You know what I mean? Except for what my parents told me.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
For sure.
Yeah, growing up, it's, you know, I guess it's okay, man. I have a loving family, man. You know, and going through schools and stuff. You know, normal fights and stuff. You know, the gangbang is very high at that time.
Yeah. The 90s.
I had a brother that, you know, rest easy to him.
Rest easy, man.
And, you know, I kind of follow in his footsteps a little bit. And started getting in trouble after my dad passed. I felt, you know, I wouldn't say there was no guidance. There was people there, like my brother, my older brother and stuff like that, trying to guide me. But, you know, they wasn't a father to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just look at him as I respect him as my brother, not my dad. You know. So I kind of ran the streets a little bit. You know, hanging out with friends.
Yeah. That's kind of the typical story for a lot of us, ain't it?
Yeah.
Coming over here and, you know, something tragic happens or something, and we kind of find our answers in the street or
Yes,
the brotherhood,
sir. Yes, sir.
you know, the brotherhood in the streets, you know what I'm saying? So I can really relate to that, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that as well.
Yeah.
So you hit the streets and you kind of following in Big Bro's footsteps.
Yeah. I didn't hang out with my brother like that, but I hung out with people my age group, you know, out there doing, you know, stupid stuff.
Yeah.
I've been juvenile hall a couple times, you know, and yeah, from there on it just spiraled, you know, and eventually I caught a case that, you know, landed me, you know, in the joint. But before I go there, I just want to say, you know, I'm not here to glorify anything, man, and you know, I want to give respect to the victim's family, you know?
For sure. I know it's hard to talk about because you're very remorseful, and you know, I feel that, man. I really do, man. And you know, sometimes we get involved in things and we don't know, you know, the outcome or the repercussions and the damage we do to each other. You know what I'm saying? And as you get older, you start to figure that out and start to realize, man, it really wasn't worth it. But I see the remorse in you, brother, and you know, and I think you are respecting the family by telling your story at this moment, you know, and then trying to help others with your story. We can talk about something else at, you know, for now, or you can continue. It's up to you, brother.
It's all good, man. I just want to say that I'm sorry, you know, like anybody's I've hurt in the past, you know, I try to use my experience to, you know, help others, you know, and that's why, like, I mean, it took me so long to come on here, you know, because I'm nervous, you know, I get very emotional about,
Yes, sir.
you know, how I came up, you know, like, loving family, you know, like I say, you know, moms took care of everything, you know, my family's good, but, man, I just kind of had no guidance, man, and I
Yeah.
just, you know, I take responsibility
I know you
for
do.
everything. You know?
Yeah. And a lot of us grew up that way. A lot of us didn't have fathers. What are circumstances? We lost them, you know, to death or maybe to prison or things like that. And so when you don't have that guidance, you end up as a young kid going out and trying to find yourself and trying to find your way as a
Yes,
man.
sir.
And, you know, we do whatever we think we can to prove that we're men, but we're not, you know, really mentally ready for that.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, I can just say this, man. You made a mistake. I see that you're remorseful for it, and that's
I am,
real.
deeply.
Yeah, man. And I think that, you know, that's very honorable. And I think that what you're doing now is really honorable. You know what I'm saying? And I know it's difficult to talk about. And, you know, you're very respectful, and I respect you for being that way. So you grew up as a youngster in Modesto. Did you get involved with gangs? Is that why it all happened? Okay.
That's where it all happened.
Okay.
You know, as a kid, you don't really realize what you're doing. You just felt like I'm a gangbanger. This is what I'm supposed to do, you know, because, you know, the people around me are doing it or whatever. You know, I'm not making no excuse for what I'm doing, man. I went through what I went through, you know, and I paid for it, you know, like, I don't know how to.
It's all good, man. You know,
It's touchy, like, for me to speak on it, because I don't want to disrespect nobody.
I
don't
see
want to
that.
open up old wounds, but I do need to put it out there that, you know, I'm very apologetic about, you know, everything that's happened to the family, not to me, because I felt like I deserved it. But I hope, you know, that I can give to others, you know, pass on some positivity or give some good advice to others not to make the same mistakes I did, you know. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, man.
No, you straight, man. I really feel that, man. And you know, the thing about it, and I told you about this earlier. You know what I mean? People who, you know, don't really feel remorse, man, they got to be psychopaths, bro. You know, you're a human being, and you were very young, and you made a mistake, bro. It's a serious mistake, but you taking responsibility, and that's honorable, bro. And I understand what you feel, man. And this is why we talk about these things, you know, about gangs and the streets and the penitentiary and just getting involved with certain things, you know. The outcome of your actions can be very, very damaging, not only to yourself, but to so many others, to the family, you know what I'm saying? And it continues on. The pain continues on because they're missing that. And this is what happens if you don't think about your actions before you hit them streets. And being a kid, you're very impressionable. And what you see around you is what you're going to pretty much do because that's what you see everybody doing. So I understand that you're remorseful, but I want you to understand also, man, it's almost as if you didn't have a choice in life. it was very hard for you in your upbringing.
Yeah, I mean, we all have a choice, you know. It's, you know, sometimes the influences in our area is very, you know, strong. You know, not to say that nobody's ever made it out the hood or anything. There's a lot of people that did great, but there's a lot of people that fell victim to it, you know, to the streets or the gangs and the system, you know what I mean? And now I'm only here today because you're very encouraging of me being here and telling my story, and hopefully it helps out the youth.
Right,
know,
right.
Because I can understand a little something, you know, about them, you know, as we go deeper into this, you know, you'll soon to find out.
No, for sure, for sure. I mean, you've been there in them streets, and like these youngsters called the trenches.
Yeah,
you've been there, man, and it's a deep story.
That's what I did, man. I gangbanged, man. You know, not knowing what the hell I was doing at the same time. You know, I'm a little kid. You know, like,
man. How old was you?
Well, I started gangbanging. I was around 13 years old. You know, 12, 13 years old. You know, I was ready. Like looking at it like it's my future or something, you know. As a kid, I was destined to do that because, you know, I have a brother and people around me and family that do that, you know. Right. So I kind of looked up to that, you know, not knowing what it consists of, you know. You know what I mean? Like I thought it was cool, you know, to be criminal, to be hanging out, you know, and doing dumb stuff, you know, and. Shit, I paid for it, man. You know, and it's nothing to be proud of, man, because it hurts me every day.
Right, right. So you paid for it, man. What was the ultimate price for you?
I spent 13 and a half years in prison, you know, and from the beginning, I'm going to start, you know, in 1995, that's when everything happened, you know, and you know, rest easy to, you know, my victim and, you know, the other victims that were involved. You know, I'm sorry, I'm not putting names out there, but I just want to be respectful of what I speak about.
Of the family.
1995, I was 14 years old. Went on a, you know, a gangbang mission, I guess they call it, you know, and you know, I took somebody's life, you know, and hurt a couple other people, you know, and 6 months later, I'm in juvenile hall, you know, facing a murder case, you know, the end of 95, 96, beginning of 96, sitting in juvenile hall. 15-year-old kid now, you know, I had to go through the court process, you know, the 707 hearing and all that stuff, and I'm supposed to win all 5 criterias in order for me to get tried as a minor.
Right.
So I had action to go to YA and stuff like that to do, you know, juvenile life, or whatever they call it. But after my 707 hearing, I only won 2 criteria and lost 3, and I needed to win 5, and I was tried as an adult at 15 years old. And from then on, I started going to adult court, not juvenile, you know. And at first it's really embarrassing, you know, because I get escorted in there, you know, shackled up in front of people, you know, and I'm a kid, you know, and people looking at me like, what the heck he did, you know what I mean? What kind of, you know, like, I was very embarrassed, you know. My mom had to be in there and all that stuff to see that, you know, and yeah, that's where it went, man. I spent a year and a half in juvenile hall, you know, fighting my case, and finally it ended with a plea bargain, you know. So I ultimately took, you know, a 15-year deal, you know, for my crime.
Right. But were they trying to give you something more than that?
Well, I had like 3 life sentences that they were trying to pass out to me for, murder, attempted murders and all that stuff, and when they gave me that offer, I felt like I still had life,
Right.
Life like to live, you know what I mean, instead of doing life in prison,
Right.
Because they were trying to throw the book at me, and make sure I never come home. But man, by the grace of God or whatever, man, I was given a second chance, bro. Not knowing that though, going into the system. The judge actually denied me the California Youth Authority because he felt like he needed to make an example out of me. So at 16 years old, I was sent to the county jail for the first time. I don't know nothing about anything. I stepped in there, and 4 days later, I'm on a transportation van. Because I was a juvenile, they locked me up in the back of the van, with the property and shit, so I won't be around people. But they already got me around people that are grown already,
Right.
But I didn't understand that. But it hasn't processed yet, you know what I mean? Until I hit DVI,
Which is reception.
which is reception center over there, and
Tracy.
everybody kept on calling me a YA reject, and I've never been to YA. I don't know what it is. So I just.
This is your first time doing time.
Yeah, my first time in, the big house or whatever.
And how old were you when you touched down on prison?
16. I was 16, like 16 and a half, something like that.
And that's something that's unheard of, right? You don't normally see young kids.
It's not, well, there were guys in there,
But what I'm saying is, like, you can't buy cigarettes, you can't do none of that, but they can lock you up in adult prison.
Yeah, when I first got there, I actually tried to buy some cigarettes, right? Because, I don't know. I thought it was cool to smoke. I'm stressed out, whatever, and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
shit, going to canteen, they red flagged me, man. They didn't let me buy no tobacco product, no anything. So I got in other means, you know what I mean? And
Right.
but that's what I was going through. I went there as a young kid, and I don't know, man.
What was that like being a youngster?
Oh, it was scary, man. Like, walking in the first time, they strip search you, they looking at things
everything.
that you really don't show in juvenile hall,
Right.
So it was new, man. Ran into some police that was being an asshole, to me, because they felt like, I'm a fuck up from YA, and I've never been there, I don't know nothing about YA like that,
Yeah.
But it was scary, man. You walk in there and it's a bunch of grown men, I don't know the rules like that, all I felt was anybody look at me crazy or whatever,
Yeah.
it's gonna be all bad.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, I gotta do what I gotta do, because at the time I'm feeling like I'm not gonna be a victim to nobody. You know what I mean? I'm gonna survive no matter what.
Now, being so young and showing up in a prison, how did people treat you, though?
Well, a lot of the homies at first, they didn't believe me.
Yeah.
Like, man, get out of here. They won't send you here. They'll at least send you to NRCC or something, or get evaluated, but they didn't, man. They sent me straight to the joint, and a lot of the homies don't really believe it until they see my paperwork. You're like, man, you're a kid, what you doing here? Like, man, I messed up, man.
Right.
That's why I'm here.
Right. And the judge made an example of you.
Yeah, he did. He sent me there, man. 4 days. I was 4 days after my sentencing, bro.
Wow.
I was already in the joint already, man.
Wow.
I walked into a whole bunch of cages and razor wires, man, and you try to hide the fact that you're not scared, but you're scared because you don't know what you're walking into. Like 120 pounds. Anybody can try to take advantage of you. Of course you're gonna be scared, but you know what? You just got to keep your head up and keep pushing. Like,
Right.
That's the card I was dealt, so I got to deal with it.
And rightfully so, like you saying, you know what I mean? Like, I deserve to pay this consequence. And so, but being so young, man, that's got to be real scary, like you explained, man.
I mean, it's scary, man, because like I said, I don't know. You know, my first time that I went to see my counselor and not knowing nothing at that time, you know, I don't know, he was being fucking an asshole to me or something, but he recommended I go to Salinas Valley at that time, you know, and it's a brand new prison, you know, like.
Right.
But at the time, I don't know nothing, you know. I just whatever you send me is what you send me, you know.
Right.
But knowing what I know now, like, damn, man, he just try to set me up, you know, sending a little kid over there to open up a new place, and
right,
that's not cool, you know. Like when I think about it now, like, damn, man,
no, that wasn't cool, man. And for those of you who don't understand, is that what the counselor was doing was trying to send, you know, Snoop to a level 4 and to a prison that has just opened up, where gangs have to establish their dominance on the yard, establish their areas and things like that. So pretty much you're going into a prison where it's straight war, and they're trying to send him as a little kid to this place. That's pretty messed up, man. And that's what I tell you guys all the time, man. Stay the fuck out of trouble, because the system don't love you. They don't care.
Yeah. You're just a number, man.
You're just a number.
That's all I was to them. I didn't, like, the way I think nowadays, like, I can't even look at a 15-year-old kid, 16-year-old, 17, and imagine them being in there. It hurts me, man. You know, like.
Wow.
That's why I want to come on here and tell the stories and hope that I reach somebody young. You know, that hopefully they understand, you know, like, your age, you can only go so far, man. They will send you up there, you know, and they did, man. They sent me up there, and that's kind of like where I grew up, you know. Like,
right, in prison. And having to adjust and learn the ways of prison, you know, it's something that y'all don't really know unless you've been there. It's a game of survival, man. You know, keep your mouth shut, eyes open. People are dying on the yard, especially back then, you know, in the 90s, you know what I mean?
I didn't, like, because I was young, I didn't say much, you know, but I knew that because, you know, I was young, I'm going to get in a lot of trouble here, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, it's a different world, man. You know, I've never dealt with anything like this, and here I am, you know, like, I don't have no experience in life or nothing, you know, and I got to navigate through the system right now, you know. Right.
Yeah, that's a terrible thing to go through at such a young age. Like you were saying, like, I can't look at a youngster and think them on the yard in prison somewhere.
It hurts me, you know, like, you know, my son is almost the same age when I started getting in trouble, and I couldn't imagine it, man. Like, I'm sorry, man.
You couldn't. You care a lot about the youth and them not suffering the pains that you suffered, and the families that had to suffer pains out there. You don't want that for no one.
No, I don't, man.
Yeah.
I come here today because, you know, I know you believe in me and that I have a good message to give. And I do, you know, and I hope it helps everybody, you know.
Most definitely. So after a while being in prison, man, what was that like, you know, just being on the yard every day, programming every day? It was just normal to you?
At first, it wasn't normal because I'm still learning the ways, you know. I'm so happy to run across, you know, OGs
good people
that's done a lot of time, you know, and I felt like they schooled me pretty good, you know, and, you know, the ways of the world in there is different from what people do out here, you know. They're like, the biggest thing that tripped me out when I first came home was the disrespect. You know, a lot of stuff that people do out here is disrespectful, you know. Like, here it's different. So
right.
For me to go in there and deal with shit that might not mean something out here, but they'll kill you for in there, you know, it's a big adjustment you got to make, you know. You better walk a straight line. I don't care how bad you are. You with a bunch of bad people here. You know what I mean? And it's scary. I'm not gonna lie. You know, when something happens and stuff like that, because you never know, man. That might be your life right there.
Yeah.
You know, and
yeah, man. It's a different type of life in there for sure. And like you said, it's life or death. You know, a simple small word or a saying that you might said to someone can get you killed.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
that's why it's a respectful place in there. I know a lot of people out here don't understand that kind of stuff. They're like, oh, yeah, you want to go to prison and be respectful. Well, whatever you want to call it. But in there, you going to abide by somebody. Somebody going to let you know for sure.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. It's always the saying, you know, it don't matter how big and bad you are. You going to get took down regardless. You know what I mean? And that's the world we lived in, man, where we have to we're walking on eggshells all the time, man. And it's not right to look from the outside in, but that's how it is. You know, that's how we keep the peace in there. You know what I mean? By not crossing each other's lines and stuff like that. You know, I get it, I guess. You know what I mean? But I'm not like a racial person like that. I like people, you know, like. But that's the line we had to walk.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of sucks, but we got to do what we got to do to preserve ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how we carry ourselves in there, and that's how we function. You know.
Yeah, in California prisons, a lot of people think that it's racist. You know, but it's not like that. It's survival in there. You know what I mean? You stick with your own.
Yeah.
You know, it's always comfortable to be around people that, you know, look like you. And that's what they do in there. You know what I mean? And it becomes a brotherhood. And that's, you know, it becomes the family, the new family.
Yeah, definitely.
You know? And that's what we go through in there, y'all, man. And it's not something that Snoop and I are wanting you to do. And that's why we don't glorify this shit. That's why we tell our stories, these difficult stories that, you know, hurt, and we're trying to put it out there so that you understand the consequences and understand your choices you're making. I was just curious on, like, you know, how was it for you psychologically? You know, like, we know your body is locked up and everything, but psychologically, what are you going through during this time?
Man, I didn't really think about the outside like that, man. Except for my family and stuff, you know. But most of the time, it's here, man. You know, this is what's going on here now. You know, don't, you know, worry about out there too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to do what you got to do to preserve yourself here.
Yeah.
You know, you got to follow the rules. You try to be tough. You know, you try not to show it. You know what I mean? But man, it kills you, man, that you're sitting in here as a kid, you know, and you don't know if you're going to go home, even though you got a date and all that stuff. You never know what's going to happen. You're around a bunch of predators and stuff, and, you know, people who do bad things, man, and, you know, just trip on, like, how scary it is for me, 120 pounds, 110 pounds walking in, and you watching these dudes, man, curl 100-pound dumbbells, man, one arm curls. You know, you're like, holy smokes, man, what do I do if I get attacked by? But, you know, you just stay positive, you know, and you just keep pushing, you know.
Right.
You got to do what you got to do. I don't know no better, you know. You put something in my hands, go do something. I might have did it. I'm a kid. I don't know. You know, I don't want to.
No.
Sometimes I don't know. I don't want to use myself as being a kid as an excuse, man. Because
you're taking responsibility, bro.
Yeah, I don't.
But you got to see. In my opinion, I think that you got to understand that really there wasn't a lot of choices for you, you know. And being a kid and being like immature, because we were immature and we not knowledgeable. We just kind of flying where we're at, and so what I said in the beginning. You know, you got to understand, and like, you know, we were young and we didn't make the right choices. And that's why people are doing it today.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same thing with the kids today. And that's what you're trying to help them with, is that they make better decisions.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Definitely. You know, I just want to give out the facts, man, because, you know, growing up, I always heard, you know, hey, you under 18, you okay. They can't do nothing to you. You know what I mean? But that's all a lie, man.
It's all a lie.
You know, I was facing a life sentence at 15 years old. You know, it's like, you know, get yourself together now. You know, this is where this path lead, man. You know, it's either you go to prison or you dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know, a lot of people that come to prison don't do well. You know what I mean? So like, why you want to subject yourself to that?
Right.
You know.
Right.
So I'm hoping I can help somebody out.
You are helping by doing this. Let me ask you this though: what was it like for family, your family, watching you go through this?
I don't tell them much.
Yeah.
You know, my mom comes see me damn near every week, man. You know, because she always felt like I was starving. You know, like
Mom.
she need to come feed me.
Yep.
And it was tough, man. You know, my mom, she get in the car by herself, whatever. You know, she makes sure she get there.
Yeah. Yeah, man. The love of a mom, man, I'm telling you, man, for her to go through that, and especially coming over here with you guys from Cambodia.
Yeah.
You know, it's painful.
They already deal with a lot of trauma.
Exactly.
So, you know, growing up, man, our parents didn't tell us they love us, they miss us. You know, like we should automatically know that. You know. But that was the first time I heard my mom tell me she loved me, man. You know. Yeah.
And I think that a lot of us, with parents that were like that, our parents start to realize, that the things we're going through, maybe we should have been told that, and I think moms realized that, and she wanted you to know that, that I love you, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, it's a hard thing to deal with, and that's what I was talking about. Not only you think you're doing it to yourself. Yeah. That this is me. I'm doing my time. I put myself here. It ain't like that.
They do it right along with you, man. They
real shit.
Sending you packages, money. Back then, you don't order through no form. They go out to the store and buy that.
Yeah.
And send it to you. You know what I mean? So it takes work too, work, money.
Yeah.
My mom didn't work like that. My brothers and sisters took care of me,
Yeah.
So I'm grateful and thankful for them, man. Regardless of how I grew up, and I'm thankful for them.
For sure, for sure.
I don't know how else to go.
No, you straight. And you know what, man? It's cool that you were fortunate to have that family there, you know what I mean? Because me and you, we've seen a lot of people in there don't have nothing, don't have nobody visiting them, no letters, no nothing, man. So that's a good story that you were loved and that your family cared about what you're going through.
I was kind of like, halfway in, halfway out, because, I always think about my family, when I do stuff, my wife and stuff like that, like they keep me grounded a little bit, man, even though we were in that kind of environment. You know? But deep down, I know I have to do what I have to do, because I'm here, and the homies that, that's my brothers, we gotta take care of each other. This is all I'm concerned about. I know my family's safe. That's how I felt, you know what I mean? But I know it's hard for them, man, because one minute I'm there and the next I'm gone, and
you told me one thing though, man. Remember you were saying how you were gone so long that you didn't even recognize your brother.
Man, I went to court, and I seen this little kid standing next to my mom, bro, and I didn't say nothing. He was just hella looking at me. And when I went to visiting, when my mom came to visit me, I asked her, "Who's that little kid that was with you?" And she told me, "That's your brother." Like, damn, that's my brother. Man, I didn't recognize him, bro. I looked through him, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know that was my brother and shit, And
man.
After that day, I didn't see him for the next 13 years, you know what I mean?
Damn.
I mean, in person, I've gotten letters and spoke to them on the phone and stuff like that. But, yeah, most of my brother, I didn't see them till I came home, because they had issues of their own that don't allow them to come to see me. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
So, like you said, after 13 years, you finally get to see them in person. Tell us about what it was like that you finally got to that 13 years and you know, coming home
Man,
now.
They called me for release, man, and when I was in Centinela, and I didn't know I was going home.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I was close. I don't really know my date. It changes all the time, you know, because, you know, back I get in trouble here and there or whatever, you know. And when they called me for release, I didn't believe it, bro. You know, I just gave all my stuff to the homie and told him I'm gone, you know, but not knowing that I'm on my next journey to an immigration facility. You know what I mean? Because I had an immigration hold, you know. I wasn't a citizen of this country, even though I lived most of my life here. I had to go through that process of being deported.
So even after your prison sentence,
After my prison sentence,
you still couldn't go home.
I had to go do time over there, so they can process me in and try to deport me.
And over there, you're still fighting for your life. You're still locked
yeah,
up.
man. You sitting there, you know, you don't really have a date or anything.
Right.
You know, you're just waiting on the
Dead
process, you know, and we go in there and it's like, sign the paper, go home. You know, if you don't sign the paper, you're going to be sitting here fighting a long case, you know, for years and end up getting deported anyways. You know what I mean? So it's like, man, I want to go home. You know, I've been locked up a long time already. And that time, like, I was locked up longer than a lot of the people there, you know, most of the homies there, you know, and I didn't let nothing bother me, Ron, like that. I know, like, what I was facing, but at the same time, I'm almost to freedom. You know, and I start, regardless if I'm free in Cambodia or free here, at least I'm free.
Right.
My dream was to step foot outside the walls one day, you know what I'm saying? Even though I didn't have a life sentence, you know, there was time that I felt like, man, I'm never gonna make it out of here. And finally, I'm getting very close, you know, very close to going home. 13 and a half years, you know, what's another few months, you know, I'm just happy, you know what I mean?
Right. There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I'm right there, you know, I'm right there. I'm not gonna let nothing spoil it, you know, and I made it, man.
You made it.
That's how I felt, man. Like the bus ride from San Diego out there to Bakersfield, man. I couldn't close my eyes, man. Just the world's beautiful, homie. That's all I gotta say, man. Like
The air smells different on this side of the fence. It does, man. And the sky looks different on this side of the fence. One thing Snoop didn't mention that we go through in there when we have these violent crimes and we're high custody is that we're not allowed to go out after certain times when a lot of the inmates can. We're really stuck in the building like that. They won't give us that freedom to even see outside at night or anything like that. And so that was a rough time in there as well because it's like you're always packed into these four walls.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I got lucky. I had level 4 points, but got an override to stay in a level 3. But they had to keep me on close custody for 5 years, you know. So I spent a year on close A and 4 years on close B, meaning that we can't come out at a certain time, you know. After a certain hour, we're slammed down, you know. But
escorted everywhere.
Yeah.
Counted more other people. We get
we get counted in the afternoon, all that stuff. Close custody count. And, you know, they just keeping track of where you are.
Yep.
I guess, you know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely. So you talked about that bus ride home and how it's so beautiful out here and everything. You were riding home because you were going to meet up with your family for the first time.
I got a ticket to Modesto, you know, and my little brother live in Fresno, you know, and they couldn't wait. They met me up. They took off, and when my bus stopped at Bakersfield, I seen my older brother. Rest easy to him, for the first time, and
yeah. That's a lot of things that people don't realize too. While we're doing time, we deal with death of family members, and a lot of times we're not even there. We're locked up, but it's very, 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 fortunate that you got to see your big brother before he passed, man.
Yeah,
That's
definitely
a blessing. That's a blessing. He got to see you come home.
Yeah, he was happy.
Heck yeah, man.
He looked like he wanted to cry. My little brother. Felt blessed, man. Like, I can't believe I'm here. Sometimes I feel like, man, do I deserve this? For whatever happened. See,
Personally, I think
here, bro.
no,
like,
but there's guys that come home and go straight to gang banging and just messing up their lives. Again.
I came home, bro. I did mess up a little bit, dabble into stuff,
Yeah.
Not realizing how precious my freedom is, I was scared. People recognized me. I was scared people was going to bring me harm, so that mentality kicks back in, and I carried myself for a while like I was still in there. I'm very cautious. I'm watching everything, because somebody might come in and hurt me. They're still out here doing banging and doing whatever they're doing. So I don't know where I belong in here, in this world. You know what I mean? Like, I reflect on it and realize, you know what? Fuck, man, all those damn years, man, I used to think about freedom, what I'm gonna do, and I'm over here fucking up. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell am I doing? So I just took a step back, bro. Looked at my life and just appreciate what I have and not what I don't have, man. And started working hard from there.
That's what I wanted to mention, is the psychological part of everything that happened to us. Man, coming home.
I still get like that, you
Yeah.
know? Like, I work on myself every day, bro. Like, I try to be calm. People out here don't live by the same rules. I used to get angry all the time. You say yes, I say no. Okay, what we gonna do about it then? You know, that type of stuff. Which man, people don't live by that rule out here. That's what I gotta learn. Like,
Right.
I start talking to my wife a certain way, and she used to always say, you're not there no more, And I used to tell, when she tell me something, like, I was saying dumb shit like, why you try to check me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I got people important on the yard that give me more respect than you. You know, stuff like that. When they're looking at me like, you're not there no more. You know what I'm saying? You speaking to your wife, not another convict. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to learn to, like, put that aside, man, because this is not how people are out here. They won't understand it. So you know what? What took me a long time to understand in there, I have to do the same out here.
Yeah.
And I start listening more, not interrupting people, just trying to understand, that they're learning me just like I'm learning them.
Definitely.
Yeah,
the psychological effects of doing time. Like, for me, I went through YA and then prison. For you, you were a youngster, 16.
Juvenile hall to the joint. 4 days in the county jail, but, does that really count? Like, I went straight over there, man, and it's a different world, homie.
And, like, and it's hard to break when you come home, because, like, that's something you did for years.
Yeah, it is hard to break. Man, I'm teaching myself to be calm every day, man. I try not to get mad at anything I can't control.
Right.
But sometimes it's like, it kicks in, man. Like, man, the other day, dude at the gas station was like, say so. I felt like he was being aggressive to me, man. You know, and I told him, hey, man, don't speak to me all aggressively. You know, it kicks back in, man. If you want to speak to me normal, bro. Like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I had to check myself. Like, man, you can't come at people like this, you know, out here because they don't understand where you come from. They don't know you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and they don't care.
it's just,
they don't give a shit, man. That's real talk. They don't give a shit that we spent all that time in prison, that we lived a certain way. They don't. You know, nobody got time for that. Yeah. And that's.
I'm saying that mentality kicks in, and it's like, fuck, man, I don't want to be like that. You know, so I always have to check myself. Like, so, you know, at the end of talking to him, I always, you know, it was cool. You know, hey, I hope you and your family have a blessed day. You know.
Yeah.
It made me feel good because they smile and leave. You know what I mean? Like, it could be confrontational, but it didn't. You know what I mean? Because you recognize and squash it right away.
Right.
You know, you have to learn to do that out here, man, or you're going to get consumed by that. You know, and I say it's a work in progress every day, man. I'm not saying I'm perfect or anything like that, man. I have my moments, you know.
It's PTSD, brother. You know what I mean? That's what it is. I mean, living in a world full of violence and things are handled through violence, you know.
It's hard for me to talk to you right now, man, you know. And I know, you know, some people going to think, oh, you brought a soft dude over here, you know, but it's not that, man. It's
Nah, I don't think
I've seen a lot of hurt.
Yeah.
And I feel for people, man. Like, a lot of people are in a situation because they never had the education. They never had the knowledge, you know. And that's why I'm thankful that you brought me here today, you know. Maybe to share some insight on our life, you know.
For sure.
In there, you know, in hopes that maybe you'll reach a young kid out there, you know, or a dude like me, similar to me, man. I hope it helps you, you know. We all go through it. But we stay strong and work through it, you know. Our family support, you know, I believe it or not, it helps me a lot when I talk to you, man.
Me too. It helps me too.
And I feel like, man, the conversations we have help each other.
Yep.
It can help other people.
Definitely.
I'm a shy dude. You know, it took you years to get me here, you know, like. But you know what? I'm here. And if I can help somebody, I'm here, man.
That's right. That's right, brother Snoop, man. I appreciate you coming in and telling your story, brother. And I hope that we can hear more from you. I know this was a difficult conversation for you, and I know you have so much more to say. We'll hear more from you, brother. And, you know, this was an excellent interview, and I hope that it can help a lot of people as well, like what you were saying. And this is what we've been trying to tell you guys for a long time, man. For a long time. So y'all know what time it is. Stay the fuck out of trouble.